Hey guys, Pedro here to do an album review. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about the brand new album from Soulfly, Ritual, out October 19th on Nuclear Blast. This record has 10 tracks and it's 44 minutes in length. And the first thing I want to say about this album is Porra! Because this record hit me like a bomb. I'm going to try to explain to you guys what I mean by this, because I heard all three singles, Ritual being the one that caught the attention the most out of the three singles that were released so far. And when I went into this record, I felt that perhaps the album was going to feel like an old school Sepultura album from Roots, Chaos AD era, because Ritual really has that Roots Rata Mahata vibe to it. So I felt that perhaps this is what we're going to get from this record, almost a flashback to old Sepultura. While some of it is true, it's not 100% accurate. I'll say this. The album has the DNA of Max Cavalera, of Soulfly, of all the projects that he's been involved with. It definitely has a feel of that Chaos AD Roots era to the whole record. There's a vibe there. There's an underlying DNA to the record that reminds me of that. Sure. Now, every song has something different to offer. What Max did, in my opinion, is he drew inspiration from all the bands, all the projects that he's been involved with, and from all the bands that he listens to and all the different genres that he listens to. And he took, almost like a chef that goes through the kitchen picking the perfect ingredients to make a meal. That's exactly what he did. He went through the metal menu of all the experiences that he personally has had and all the experiences that he's had listening to other bands, and he took the perfect elements from every single genre: black metal, metalcore, heavy metal, thrash metal, groove metal, and he took all of those and he created this record. And he incorporated a little bit of every single one of them in a different song. So this allows the record to have that underlying vibe of an old school Sepultura album, if you will, that old school Brazilian thrash metal sound, but it doesn't allow the album to become repetitive and become just a blurb that after the 10 songs you don't even know which song was which because they all kind of sounded the same. That's not the case. He incorporated these little elements within each song on the record to give each song some uniqueness, to give each song its own life, its own DNA, its own fingerprint, if you will. And that to me was key in order to make an album like this work. Also, he had some guest appearances on the record. Randy Blythe from Lamb of God was a singer and Dead Behind the Eyes, and Ross Dolan from Emulation was a guest singer and Under Rapture. By adding these two guys in those two songs, what he did was he incorporated that DNA in there. He made the song feel a lot heavier at some times, a lot more death metal at some times, a lot groovier at some times. So by incorporating these guest singers, it was his way of changing a little bit of the fingerprint of the song, so that the song had its own life and it didn't sound like the song that came before or the song that comes after. I really like the guest appearances on the record. I feel that they really were an added value to the song and to the record itself. Also, I want to mention that this is the third Soulfly album that features Zion Cavalera behind the drums, Max's son. I think that's really cool, and I had to mention that on my album review. Now, as far as favorite songs are concerned, this is how I went about this. I picked Ritual, and that's the only single that I picked on my top three. The reason behind that, I really enjoyed the other two, but the reason behind it is you guys probably, by the time you're watching this, you haven't heard the album yet, so I want to give you guys at least an idea of how some of the other songs sound and feel like. So if I picked all of the three singles, you already heard the singles, I wouldn't be giving you anything new. So I felt that I pick Ritual, and then I'll pick two other songs that have something different to offer within the record. So let me start with Ritual. Ritual to me was the best of the three singles that came out, and it's without a doubt my favorite song on the record. I really love the tribal, the Indian chanting at the beginning of the song. It reminded me of Roots. It had that old school Sepultura vibe, not just with that, but even with the guitar riffs, even the way Max was singing. It just, to me, this song, it was like it was taken out of Roots and planted into Ritual. That's how I felt about this song. It's a really cool way to start the album because it allows the listener to get a start with a song that they're perhaps the sound is familiar to them, and it's also the single. So the listener is not only familiar with the sound, is familiar with the song. So it's the perfect way to introduce the listener to the album. I love the chorus. The chorus of this song was such a throwback, and a throwback to Hata Mahata. I really felt that a lot of the components around the chorus of this song were really based on the way Hata Mahata was designed during that Roots album with Sepultura. I really felt the connection there. There was a lot of similarities to that, but it fit perfectly into the song because the song had that tribal vibe to it. My favorite on the album because it made me go back to the early 90s and the Sepultura days. Another one of the songs that I want to talk to you guys about is called Feedback. Now, this song is perhaps the most unique song on the whole record. And the reason I say this is because this song has a very punk underlying vibe to it. It almost feels like something out of a Nail Bomb record more than it does out of a Soulfly record. It's very punk driven. There's an underlying DNA of punk in there, but at the same time it feels also like something that you could hear out of a Motorhead album. It has it has a blend of punk and rock and roll. So it has that perfect blend of those worlds, giving the song a very fast pace, very unique in sound, very unique in style. I really like it. Now, this song has a great, catchy chorus. Perhaps the hookiest chorus on the album is in this song. And I think a lot of that has to do with the style of the song, with that underlying punk rock vibe to it. And that adds to the catchiness of the chorus. It makes the chorus very, very simple, very easy to sing along, very easy to remember. But the song to me is divided into two. This song is a song of two parts. Part one is that punk rock and roll vibe to it. And then after the second chorus, the song becomes a lot groovier, a lot heavier, a lot with groovier riffs, with a lot of heavier riffs. It slows down in pace, it becomes heavier and groovier, almost like Motorhead morphed into Lamb of God, if you will, as the song progresses. I really enjoyed it. Very unique, very different. You're not going to find another song anywhere close to this song on the record, and that's why I picked Feedback as one of my top three. Last but not least, The Summoning, another song that I felt that was very different from anything else on the album. I felt that this song had some metalcore influences in it. And to me, that's noticeable in the riffs, and even with Max coming with a blah at some point in the song. This song to me had a lot of undertones of a metalcore song. And it worked because, once again, the song, the basis of the song is still a thrash metal song, still a heavy thrash metal song. But when you start incorporating some metalcore breakdowns, some metalcore riffs, let's say this, metalcore sounding riffs, something that you expect from a metalcore band, and then you add that blah there, it really, you're giving a song that has its own DNA, but you're sprinkling it in, these differences in there, these metalcore sprinkles in there, and you give the song a completely new life, new dynamic. I really liked it. But the thing that attracted me to this song more than that metalcore influences in it, because I thought those were really well placed, really well done, and it gave a lot of life and personality to the song. It made the song sound very different, very heavy. It almost gave the song a little bit of extra heaviness to it. But what attracted me to the song was the chorus, the riff in the chorus. And Max's vocals around the riff in the chorus. I really thought it was incredible. I really liked the way the riff sounded in the chorus and how the riff really merged well with Max's voice in that chorus to make it a very potent part of the song. This song has an insane blistering pace, and there's very few chances for you to catch your breath during this song. There are a few here and there, specifically around the choruses, but it's a very fast, blistering pace song. I really like it. I like those metalcore influences in there. They're very subdued, but if you're paying attention, you're really going to notice some of the guitar riffs, some of the breakdowns, and even Max, in the way he's singing the song, incorporates some components that are normally used in metalcore. I like it. I like the innovative style that he took with this song and with the whole record. Ritual from Soulfly is an awesome record that I highly recommend you guys checking it out. You're not going to be disappointed. Now, if you're going in expecting an old school Sepultura sounding album, perhaps you will be disappointed. But I think you have to go to this record with an open mind, and expect to be surprised with what he's going to give you song after song. Because while the DNA of the band is intact, there are a lot of different influences from song to song, which makes each song sound completely different from one another. I really enjoyed it. Now I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys have to say about Soulfly, their brand new album, Ritual? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I'll be reading those comments and getting back to you guys. Take care.